What's your definition of good hair?
Something that looks relaxed and nice.
If your hair is relaxed, white people are relaxed. If your hair is nappy, they're not happy.
If you're not light-skinned, then you're not beautiful.
I'll come in and that's the first thing you see is that I'm black and that's it. Y'all are gonna take me and all my blackness or none at all.
Alright, I've experienced colorism. I think my first experience occurred around the age of like 6 or 7. So I went to a predominantly white school. The only black kids that were there, which was like 3 of us maybe, I think we were all like pinned against each other, sort of. I'm not really sure why, but like I feel like it had to do with the fact that like we were the minority. They would pick on me because of my skin tone. I guess because I was darker than them, and I didn't really see it as colorism. I saw it as like bullying. They would attack me online as well as in person, and I don't know, it was dumb.
Hey, it's the Gangnam Style guy in drag?
How you doing, Lil Kim? Looking good, I like the new look.
Oh, right, of course. That's Lil Kim at BOA. We just didn't recognize her with her new hair and race.
I am light, but my mom is dark. And so like, as a child, I started noticing like at school events or just whenever my mom would come to the school. One time where like, this little boy, he probably meant no harm at all, but he's basically like, you're not her mom, you're dark. She's light, like, that's not your mom. And I was like, she is my mom.
I'm from Detroit, so it's primarily black. I really saw maybe like 1 or 2 white people a year. Was I surrounded by or influenced by black women? 100% for sure. The majority of the people in my life that raised me were women. Other than my dad, the women in my life always have a very dominant energy and are very like strong-willed and don't take no for answers. So I imagine in their fields they more than likely probably did. My mom is a teacher, so is my older sister, and so they more than likely probably had some adversity in the starts in their careers. My grandmother, maybe not so much. She's a wedding coordinator, and before that she like worked in offices and designed hats and whatnot.
I went to a predominantly white high school. I would say freshman and sophomore year was when I was kind of trying to assimilate and just cruise by. And I'll definitely say actually those 2 years were when I was trying to assimilate, but I would think a point in my life where I realized my blackness was actually around the time when Michael Brown got shot.
It ain't even real.
You wish you had hair like this.
Girl, you know you weren't even born with blue eyes. Pick your nanny, Barbie doll, high yellow heifer,
Tar baby. Wanna be white, jigaboo.
don't start.
We're gonna finish.
I wouldn't necessarily say offensive comments, but definitely offensive actions. Not necessarily as just being targeted, but more of like microaggressions and just the way people conducted themselves around me. I have definitely like been made to feel uncomfortable just because I am black. Like whether if it was just going to the store and being followed around, or people like moving their things when I sit down. Like I've definitely had things like that happen. So
My neighborhood was pretty diverse. My family is South Sudanese, and we had like people from different countries in Africa, like Eritrea or Ethiopia, and then we had like Latinos and a couple white people.
I have never cheated in my life. I have a daughter and I stand what's right for her, and I've never cheated. And you owe me an apology. You will never do it. Not right. This is not fair. This has happened to me too many times. This is not fair.
I feel like that was a setup and that's not something that can like be easily proven, but that's not something that just happens. Like, that didn't just happen to anyone. That happened to one of the best tennis players, female tennis players, that happens to be black.
Seeing Serena Williams at the US Open and how they treated her enraged me, not just as a black woman, but as someone who's passionate about something. When you love a sport or you love something, it is very difficult for people to want to take that away from you because they're prejudiced just for the simple fact that you're a woman and you're black, or the way that you look. It made me feel like we haven't really made any progress. I was glad that she expressed her emotions instead of taking it and being careful about how she responded, because I think it was important for people to see that she is a human and that she has emotions. I have received offensive comments as a black woman, but they're microaggressions. They're offensive because they're dismissive. If something would happen that bothered me and I responded, I wouldn't yell or be angry. I would just say I didn't like what you said, and then they would say, well, you don't have to be so angry all the time. And because I know I'm a person who's like well aware of their emotions and how they react, for you to say I don't have to be angry all the time is just dismissive of what I'm angry about right now.
Like, women in entertainment are very stigmatized and very stereotyped. Like, I feel like they're not allowed to stretch their wings and be, you know, I feel like a black woman isn't allowed to be in front of a camera or go on stage and say maybe quirky or nerdy things without them being like, oh wow, she's a black girl, but like she acts and talks white. Like, why can't she just be white? Why can't you just, you know, be you without it being attached to another race or whatever? Like, you know, like, or like the whole thing where it's like you talk white, like, no, I'm just, you know, I have a vocabulary. I don't know, like I'm not. So there's not a lot of diversity in black women in film. One, I think because of fear, because people are always afraid to step out of their comfort zone, even when it comes to creating content, because they might, like filmmakers in the industry now, I don't believe that they're all racist and they're all bigoted and they're all misogynistic. Like, I feel like there are filmmakers out there that want to make like really dope, different films. Like a black female superhero film would be dope, but pitching that is really hard and your career can kind of ride on that. So I feel like, one, that's the problem with that, but then also the roles aren't being written for them to be anything different than what they've been in the past. Like, and that stems from people being afraid to go out of that zone. But like, it's not just that we're seeing like the same black women is the problem. We're seeing the same acting black women. Like, we're seeing, like, you see a Tiffany Haddish in every movie. You see a Taraji P. Henson in every movie. You see a Lauren London type character in every movie. Like, you see these, it's like the same character with a different face on it, and they think, oh, that has to be a black woman because that's how they act.
Defending myself as a black woman and then seeing myself within Serena Williams at the US Open, it was very relatable. I think every black woman has gone through something, whether if it's very minuscule or something as huge as getting accused of cheating on such a platform. It's very disheartening because as a black woman, as soon as you walk into a room, people already have a lot of assumptions about your personality, the way you conduct yourselves in public forums. And so a lot of black women, myself included, we hinder ourselves from doing certain actions and expressing ourselves in certain ways because we don't want to play into the she's angry, she's upset, she's an animal, like she doesn't know how to act in public stereotype. And it's very hard because being on such a main stage like that and knowing within yourself, like, I'm not cheating, what would I need to cheat for? I'm about to defend this because you're tarnishing my legacy at this point.
To buy some black hair.
They don't want to look like, you know, alpha cut like this. You make sure the hair straight, look more natural.
So my nappy hair is not worth anything.
I've never really been natural. until very recently, like until I started college, because the schools that I went to were predominantly white. So like I thought that like I needed to fit in as best as I can, so I always had like a perm or like a weave, and those were the things that people tended to compliment on more than like when I would have braids in or have my natural hair out.
I've always received negativity regarding my hair. I think I was okay with my hair, and I think that bothered people, which when they were bothered, they would make it a point to kind of just make me feel like my hair was ugly. So I went through these phases of, I'm going to cut my hair off, which I've done multiple times, or I change my hair multiple times a week. This week I've had 4 hairstyles already. So receiving the negativity towards my hair in a way made me love my hair in a different way than I did before, because it just showed me all the things that I could do with it.
Wow, you guys, okay, holy fashion police controversy. Now, as I'm sure you've heard, host Juliana Rancic made a racially charged comment about 18-year-old Zendaya's dreadlocks at the Oscars.
Hair to me overwhelms her. Like I feel like she smells like patchouli oil. Or weed. Yeah, maybe weed.
Wigs, sew-ins, braids, I don't know the terminology, but I think it's all beautiful. It just depends on how you wear it, you know.
When I transitioned into high school, I actually became a cheerleader on my high school cheer squad, and it was like they didn't directly tell me that I had to relax my hair, but they were like, you need to do something with your hair. I really let them like tell me I had, like, they didn't specifically tell me I had to do this, but it was like they made me uncomfortable and just be like, yeah, so you should do something. But yeah, and it was just really weird because it was an all-white cheer squad. Like I was one of the 2 little brown dots. I would say my perception of beauty is living where you feel comfortable. Just doing what makes you feel good and what makes you not feel as an outsider.
A lot of the headshots that I've seen of African American women, like it's always, I feel like it's better to have like your natural hair, because that's what people are looking for. People aren't aware of how to like handle black hair is an issue, because like if like directors and casting agents want you to have natural hair and like want you to like pursue like natural hairstyles, then I feel like stylists should look into learning how to do that.
Acceptance is the most beautiful part of beauty.